Simon Says subscribe and click on the bell icon to receive notifications.
In this lesson, we are going to discuss the perspective crop tool. So you're going to have situations where the image that you took a picture of isn't necessarily coming into the angle and the sort of two-dimensional aspect that you'd like. So Photoshop gives us an amazing tool called the perspective crop tool, where we can actually take an image like this that's taken at an angle and then create it so it's going to come and look like it's on the forefront, where it's basically taking up the whole canvas. And you're going to see it does it pretty magically and also pretty easily. So where are we going to find that tool? Well, within the crop tool, if you right click, you're going to see here is the option for the perspective crop tool. Now, when I click on that, you're going to notice I have width and height. So if I know what width and height I want it to be, I can then crop it to that width and height. Now, I'm not going to do that initially because it's going to warp it, but sometimes when you are cropping to something, you know you want it to ultimately be a certain size to fit onto your website or into your newsletter, something like that. So you can very, very easily do that. You can tell it the resolution that you want when you're cropping it, so it makes it very high resolution if you want to as well. And we'll talk about the front image thing in just a little bit. So how do we actually set the perspective to make it so Photoshop knows what we're trying to crop? Very, very simply. What I'm going to do is just click here in the corner, click again here in the corner. I'm going to do it kind of roughly here. You'll notice that Photoshop is starting to create this nice little grid for me. So I kind of know what straight lines are both horizontally and vertically. Click on that. And now it's done a pretty good job. But before I actually do anything at all, I want you to just notice a couple of things. Number one, this show grid. That's why it's even appearing on there, right? So that's kind of nice to have that there. So I kind of know what straight looks like here. Is it going across the line here for this frame, across her eyes, all that good stuff. Okay, but then what I'm going to do now is zoom in a little bit because I want to make sure it doesn't miss anything. All right, so you can see here I can go all the way to the corners. I can do everything here. I can come all the way over there. And all I'm doing, just as a little reminder, is I'm holding down the space bar to then pan along here. So you'll notice that I didn't get everything here perfectly. So I can then just come over here because I'm so zoomed in and just drag this over and really get more content, more information, and go all the way to the edge. I can go over here, go a little bit more to the top. That's great. And now you can see there, beautiful, and maybe even zoom in a little bit more in case you need to. All right, there's a little bit off the top there, but I don't want to get any of that sheet. So I think I'm pretty good here. Now let's go ahead and zoom out a bit. And let's just see what we're going to get when I hit the check mark. Click on that, and then, like magic, that is exactly what I wanted. Fantastic. So happy with that. It's amazing, right? It didn't stretch it out. It didn't do anything warpy or wonky. It did exactly what I wanted to. I'm going to go ahead and just undo that for a second. And what you see what this front image does, this kind of confuses people, but basically the front image, all that means is that we're looking at this whole image, and basically Photoshop is asking us, do you want to crop to the actual front image of the original aspect ratio of the original canvas? So the original canvas, the front image, is this whole thing here. So if I do this one more time, all right, I'm going to come over to here, do it again a little quicker this time. Okay, and then when I say front image, now notice what happens with my width and height. Because my width and height of my original canvas is this 2268 by 2874, right? And now it's going to say, okay, great. Well, I guess when you crop it, you're going to crop it to that size. So now when I click on the check mark, you're going to see I'm going to get a little bit of a different image. So not what I want, right? Because I actually like that one a lot better, the first one that I did. But just in case you have front image chosen and you're like, why is all this weird stuff happening? You watched another video, they told you to do that. Maybe that's what you want to do, but it's important to understand what it does because the language is a little bit off. Okay, so bam, I don't want to do front image, right? Clear that out. Okay, very good. And then I can start all over again and then have a nice, beautiful image of little Hannah there.
If you're not a subscriber, click down below to subscribe so you get notified about similar videos we upload. To see the full course that this video came from, click over there. And click over there to see more videos from Simon Says It.